What's going on out there, YouTube? This is SEL0220 here to bring you my very first video game review of Grand Theft Auto 5. I received that poster from GameStop. Pre-ordered it, went to the midnight release. September the 17th was the official release date. Actually came out with its own authentic bag and everything like that. And of course, I got the normal version. Unfortunately, they had 3 different versions, which I wasn't going to get the $150 version because I didn't feel like I needed all the DLC in the lockbox, even though all that was cool. Wanted the special edition version because it did have the DLC, but then had the steel case, which I actually prefer steel case over that. But instead, I just got the normal version. Came with the booklet, came with the atomic blimp, and then it also came with a specific map of all of Los Santos. But I'm going to go ahead and delve into this review because this review has a lot to do with all of this. So any of y'all that have played Red Dead Redemption, from the series, of course, Red Dead Revolver, John Marston, the whole scope of the whole game is just so epic. Not just because it takes place in the Wild Wild West, but there's so many different activities that you can do. But in the same token, like there's so many different interactions that you have on an everyday basis. Like you could go outside and you find somebody that has a bum wheel on their carriage that you gotta go help them with, or you can find somebody getting robbed you can go help them with. You can have a mission to go and play like darts or like spades or some kind of like mini game, and they they turned it out on Grand Theft Auto 5. Off the gate, I'm gonna go on 3 different sections. I'm going to first talk about the scope of this game, just in and of itself. With the $261 million budget, did they really put their emphasis on depth and environment? Second, I'm going to talk about how they did specifically with the character animations, with the characters, and how it looks as far as the UPCs, or the people that are coming in and out that are not actually real or me playing, but the virtual versions. And then finally, I'm going to talk about the story. Now, this review is only 50% of the game. I intentionally did that because I wanted to wait till the day before the online, GTA Online, is going to come out officially tomorrow, October the 1st. So since September the 17th, I've been playing non-stop, and I'm only at 50%. Granted, I do have it on Xbox 360 that I've been playing the 50% portion on, but I've also been going through my PS3 version as well. We actually pre-ordered it on PlayStation Network. That's a whole different story. It's going to take too much time for me to do this review, so I'm going to go ahead and start off the gate, like I said, going into the depth, going to the scope of Grand Theft Auto just as a world. So as I was talking about before, talking about Red Dead Redemption and in the scope of how large this game was, they made it twice as big with Grand Theft Auto 5, y'all. Like, you could go out, and I'm going to paint a picture for you. One of the main characters, who's Franklin by my turn that I'm talking about, he has a brand new apartment I just got for him. I can wake up from my apartment, I can go and look at TV, I can go and go into my little pool outside, which you've done that in the older Grand Theft Autos. But now, I have an actual character I can interact with. I have a dog, his name's Chop. I can go and play with him, I can go and pet him, I can go and teach him tricks. I can go to my garage where I have different variations of different cars that I have. I can go and listen to music. I can go and change and interact with different things inside of my home. If I have, like, hypothetically speaking, a drink or energy drink, I can go and drink my energy drink. I can go and change clothes and take a shower. I can go, all these different kind of things that are made and endorsed into this environment. That's just in my home. So when I step outside of the home, I go into my car, and I don't know if you pay attention to it, but when you start a car in Grand Theft Auto, whether you're going and stealing the car, whether you're going and starting your own car, you see the character animation turn the car, and sometimes it might be cold outside. It might take a long time for it to even cut on. You'll hit the tick, 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 and it's just so amazing how much detail goes. So when the car goes, the lights cut, you hear the vroom of the engine. Sometimes if you go and kick the engine too fast, you'll hear the Spitfire come back. And it's just amazing, y'all. And I can go down the street. I'm still painting a picture for y'all. and maybe I'm gonna go to the movies. So now there's a movie theater I can go to and interact in that movie theater. Before I go in there, I might like just be staring at the movie theaters, watching other people do this or do that, and I might come out of the movie theater and there might be something going on out there. It might be somebody actually is in trouble, or they just got arrested, or it might be a domestic violence thing that's going on. Every character that is kind of immersed in the world itself is evolving around them. So I haven't even talked about the characters yet. I'm just talking about the world itself is completely evolving. So the cops could be swaying by, it could be a parade going on, it could be something as far as the weather is concerned. The weather now, it could be raining outside, and it might be puddles that eventually cake up. The characters, when you shave like Franklin's head, for instance, eventually that hair will grow back slowly. So in and of itself, like the amount of depth that they put into this game is just amazing. I'm gonna tell y'all a couple things that IGN actually talked about today that I was reading through, and it's what it's called. The name of it was 100 different things that will blow your mind about Grand Theft Auto. And I noticed some of these things, but I didn't pay that much attention to them. When you're going into your car, you can also go and look back. When you're looking back, the character itself is actually looking up into the mirror. I could have somebody else in my car and we're having a mission or whatever. You see the actual voice of the person like kind of doing the side version of what the conversation is about. Each character, that much detail into it. I could go and use the left or the right bumper, not bumper, but D-pad. I could turn my lights from high beam to low beam. If I go and ride too far down the road and I don't have my high beams on, a person might flash the lights to tell me to turn it on. If I go and I cut somebody off or I hit their car, they might come and start beeping their horn, and eventually they'll get out of their car upset with me and want to pick a fight. And you'll see like a little red mark that'll come around and try to chase you, and you can maybe get out of your car and try to fight them or engage them or do nothing, but they're going to attack you. And it's just so much detail, and I have to give it a 10 out of 10. But I'll go through some of the different things that stuck out for me that I noticed along the way. When Michael's one of the characters, when Michael goes, he has a therapist. When he confesses to and discusses random different events that literally just happened. So if I go and I rob a convenience store, he goes and talks to his therapist about these things that are troubling him. Now this has to do with me. So I'm going and doing things with Michael. If I do good things or bad things, he talks to his therapist about those things. That's just crazy. Let's go to another one. When you go to like a stoplight, and normally I don't do that. I usually just kind of blow past, but I've noticed this happen. I go to a stoplight, and when you just kind of rev your engine and you're next to a sports car and you're in a sports car, that car will immediately kind of think about like racing you right then and there off the gate. And sometimes I'll go in front of traffic and I'll cut them off. If you really do pay attention to them, you look around, you'll hear people making dialogue that they are yelling at you and stuff like that, but you look back, they're like putting their middle finger up and totally interacting with you, immersed in this world, and no character animation is different, which that's what I'm about to go into now. I'm going to go into Franklin, Trevor, Michael, and their interaction in this world, but more than anything that's blowing me away is the actual people that are not in the environment. People like Lamar, the people like the characters like Shop, there are people like Lester, the people that are on the street, the people that are working at fast food, the people that are working in like the ammunition stores. I've gone and I went to an ammunition store the first time when a mission going on. I'll go back to that same ammunition store, and it'll be different for different ones. I'll go back in there, and he'll be like, "Man, you're so cool, man. Like when I saw you, it was like looking at a movie." He remembers me. If I went into a different character and went in there, he wouldn't remember, but he remembers me because he remembers the mission that I did. And it's just so crazy how it's just such an evolved kind of dimension of a character that would remember and comprehend what I've done and the ramifications of the actions that I make. And so each character, if you go and you accidentally run somebody over, different people have different reactions. Some people will go and they'll run and get upset. But say if you run somebody over in the wrong neighborhood, like Grove Street for instance, they will look at you like you are nuts. And what will happen is they will probably try to kill you or jump you. And it's not the fact that you just ran over somebody and they freaked out or scared. It's a level that you really can't understand or comprehension. And they've done that in kind of other ways, but now the dialogue, the dimensions of voice and interaction with their hands and their expression and their mannerisms, you can see it. Like, if you go and you pick a fight with somebody that's wearing glasses and they want to fight you, they hit you, they can knock the glasses off you. And at the same time, you can do the same thing to them. But you'll see scars. Like Michael, one time he was in a fight, and I'll never forget, because he got beat down really bad. And his face was all mangled up and stuff like that. And it wasn't until I got back home and took a nap did that go away. And then sometimes, like, if you go and you drink too much and you go to the hospital, say, and you get like wasted or whatever, you come out of the hospital all messed up because you were intoxicated. Like, it's just so vivid the way they do the character animations. They played off of LA Noire perfectly. They used every little bit that I was hoping that they would to be able to interact with these characters. But at the same time, if you have all the main three characters in like one van or like one interaction, the dialogue changes progressively through each one. Like, if you start the mission for somebody else, because with this game you can go in and out, in and out, in and out with different characters, like I've alluded to before. But because you have so many different ways that it can go, you're always going to get a different result. And you wouldn't know unless you played the game again. You're like, okay, wow, that didn't happen the first time when I interacted with you because I didn't play this person. And it's just so amazing how each character comes to life for you, because you know, like, Trevor is the insane one, but he's got little depths to him. Like, you can empathize with him, but you know that he has a screw loose. Franklin, like, he has a circumstantial issue from where his upbringing is, but he strives to be more, but he keeps staying stuck in the same situation. And you got Michael that has everything at this point, but he's not happy with himself, and he's lost all touch with his family. And I mean, Michael's character reminds me a lot of Bryan Cranston's character, Walt, or Heisenberg from Breaking Bad, because he's put through such a world from his past that everything that he's done has caught up with him and changed his whole scope of his family. And I mean, it shows as the character progresses, like how the toll plays on him. When I play as the character, each character has their own kind of walk, has their own kind of feel. And you can tell, like, if I'm going swimming or something like that, and I get out, like, you can hear the little splashes of, like, slush still in my shoes. If I go out running and Michael's out of shape or he's down or whatever, there'll be sweat pouring down from Michael, or playing tennis or whatever. And it's just so amazing how much definition they put. I have to give it a 10 out of 10 just for how much they put emphasis on this. So across the board, I mean, you've heard different reviews and people saying that this is just an amazing game. But this is the other part that I will say. This game is not for children. This is not for children, even at 15 and under, it's really not for that. It's really not for adults. If you are having different issues with work or domestic issues or violent tendencies or anger, and you use this as a conduit to express and take this out on the game eventually will become your world. And you have to be really careful with that, because I'll sit there, I'll play the game, and I'll play in this first person driving and stuff like that. I'll go outside and I'll go and drive, and I'm like, man, this feels so close to what I'm doing on the game. And it's so easy to kind of get pushed into that world. I'm not saying everybody will do that, but I'm just saying you have to be really careful what you allow yourself to perceive or see as a reality for you. And like I said, this is not something that you should interact with your children for them to be able to kind of get caught up in that world that this is okay. No. Anybody that knows they have like a spiritual conviction of violence, of rape, of crime, and all these kind of things, then if this is something that you know is going to deter you from like your daily living or change your environment for you or your peace, then I mean, there's no reason for you to kind of go and dwell into it. If you know where you are, that you're okay and you're stabilized and you're just enjoying the gravity of just what you're witnessing as a game that's unfolding around you, and you're not just kind of creating violence just for the sake of violence, and you're enjoying the game, then I mean, that's one thing. But this game is very easy that you can go and harm some people just for the heck of it. Just because, I mean, you have those moments, all of us have those moments where people just go and bug the mess out of us. And we want to express it, but we can't. Whereas a virtual world can. And that's why a lot of people look at movies. But that's going too far. I'm just reviewing the game. But I wanted to express that portion because that's a lot that I have to deal with. When I played that game, I really enjoyed the game. But I had to take it in spurts because I know that there are times where I can be like so engulfed into a world. I know how y'all see me how when I go into a movie or like a movie's like depth of a story, and I mean this has a lot of depth to it. Like I played it for hours and I've always had different interactions with different people. Like I'll go to the side of the road and I'll help people. Instead of stealing this stuff, like I have a morality complex where I have to not do that. Like I can't go and just like help somebody and then steal their money or kill them. Like that's just not what I would do. And it translates into the game. But it's just a game, but to me it's a little bit more. And so for other people that do the opposite of that, then what would you do? So, but like I said, like food for thought, I'm just bringing that to expression into this review just because y'all know me, okay? Keep it 100. Last but not least, the story. So like I said, I only played 50% of it, but every single mission, like it just goes on it, y'all. And I mean, it's not just about the heist. Like everybody that goes and plays this game, they're like, man, I want to play the heist, I want to do this, I want to do that. You just being in this world, you can come across so many different people that have their own mission. I mean, there's this guy named Barry, I think, not Barry, Beverly. And the dude, he just loves taking publicity shots of people. He's paparazzi or whatever. And he brings you into this kind of world. And he's just a side character, but it's so different how, where it starts to where it ends as far as his whole mission progression with Franklin, who's the person that he interacts with for this specific kind of missions. Like how his relationship with him grows and then it distorts and then it just goes to a different kind of way. And you have a choice of how to end the relationship or continue it. And it's just so amazing how much depth they put into everything. I mean, from the beginning, how it starts and you're just in this snow environment and you're met with Michael and Trevor, and I've shown y'all in my different videos how it starts in the first mission to where the characters are now. 50% for me, like they evolve as I play them. And they evolve together or separated, because I can go in the middle and always interacting back and forth, but it just grows on you, y'all. I mean, I can go and be Michael and go to Trevor's location in the mountains, steal his car, and he would call me back and be like, what are you doing? He would get upset with me. Like, this is a self-evolving storyline that's condensed in its own finite world. But I'm going to be honest with y'all, I have yet to even scour the whole entire map. The map is so vast, there's so many different levels of it, that I've yet to go all the way through the entire map. And it just blows my mind. I can't believe the fact that I have not gone all the way through the entire map. I've had to make a mention to do that. And not just that, this game also takes place underwater. And it just continues to evolve. And it's like, I can't even express everything to y'all about it until I go to the next 50%, because I mean, I haven't talked about the exercises, I haven't talked about scuba diving, I haven't talked about the perks of the skill points, the different effects with how Michael is a precision person where it comes to like Max Payne and actually going slow motion. I haven't talked about Franklin with his driving precision, where I love to drive as Franklin more than any other person because of his specific skills. Like Trevor comes invulnerable for a second just out of rage. Like, I haven't talked about these different things. I'm right now just expressing to y'all that the depth in the story is so continuous and so vast that it just brings you in. No matter where what point you're at, as a Grand Theft Auto fan or non-fan or disprover, you will get something from the story and you will enjoy it. But the more you Don't just play it just to play through the story. And the more you allow yourself to kind of like go to the question marks and go to the little mini side stuff, you'll notice so many different things. I mean, I'm taking part in the stock market now. And I mean, I just got like 40% back from something I invested. I invested almost all my money back. And that means I got maybe $200,000 back. And it's just so crazy, y'all. This game is phenomenal. Story 10 out of 10, environment 10 out of 10, character, UPC, development, everything you can think of. It's just an amazing game. But like I said, this game is not for everybody, and it's not for the youth in my personal perspective. If I had a child, I would not allow him or her to go through this game, even with me. I would bring to attention on what it's about so they can get an understanding about, okay, don't be blind to this so the snake can bite you. But this is not something you need to take part in. And even with me playing it, don't take it as though you have to do it just because I do it. You know, and it's such a fine line with that. But I'll go more into that later on in the next review. But I had to do a review before tomorrow's date, Grand Theft Auto Online. So anybody out there that wants to party up with me or my clan or whoever, my gamer tag is EarlLeg423, and I will be on the ground on PS3 and Xbox 360 ready for y'all. This is my review, 50% of Grand Theft Auto 5. Deuces.